Harry Potter, raised in a cupboard, unloved, carrying a scar and a burden no child should ever bear. That's the story we know. But what if it never happened? What if, on that cold Halloween night in Godric's Hollow, James and Lily Potter survived? Because if they did, Harry wouldn't be the boy who lived. He'd be the boy who was never broken, and everything changes. The night that changed everything. It begins the same way. A baby in a crib. A mother whispering lullabies through the tremble in her voice. A father gripping his wand with white knuckles, waiting for death to knock. Only this time, the door doesn't splinter into a tombstone. It cracks open to a fight. James Potter doesn't fall. He moves. Fueled by desperation and raw instinct, James casts a shield charm he never told anyone he'd mastered. One so experimental, it shouldn't have worked. But it does. Just long enough. Just hard enough. The killing curse hits it, wavers, and fizzles into the ether. Lily doesn't scream. She doesn't run. She casts. She layers charm after charm around Harry, protection magic pulsing like a heartbeat, while James distracts Voldemort with every dirty trick he learned as a marauder. And for one impossible moment, the two of them, two young parents standing against the most feared wizard in history, hold the line. Until something happens. Something no one, not even Dumbledore, could explain. Lily's final ward collides with James's fragmented shield. And when Voldemort hurls the killing curse again, it doesn't just rebound, it implodes, collapsing in on itself like a star dying backwards. The blast rips through the house. The walls quake, magic snaps and sizzles in the air, and Voldemort is gone. Gone, not vanquished by death, but by love. And not a single sacrifice was made. James, bleeding from the temple, Lily, cradling their child, Harry, untouched, no scar, no orphan, just alive. When the neighbors rush in, when Sirius arrives wild-eyed and panting, when Dumbledore stands in the ruins and says the words, "It's over," no one understands how, but it doesn't matter. The Potters lived, and the boy who was supposed to grow up in silence and sorrow will grow up in laughter and light. A very different childhood. Harry Potter still becomes famous, but this time for surviving with his family, not because he lost them, no scar, no cupboard, no Dursleys. Instead, a soft bed in Godric's Hollow, the sound of his father's laugh echoing through the house, the smell of his mother's potion books and sun-warmed robes. A childhood built not on prophecy or pity, but play. James teaches him how to fly before he can tie his shoes. Lily teaches him how to read before his magic even flares. When he turns 2, Sirius buys him a toy broom and nearly breaks a lamp, showing him how to crash properly. Remus visits every full moon cycle, arms full of enchanted storybooks and chocolate frogs. He reads Harry tales of Merlin and magical beasts, with voices for every character. Harry insists the werewolf stories are his favorite. Lily winces. James smirks. They're careful. They don't flaunt their survival. They stay quiet, cautious, guarded, but never bitter. The headlines still call Harry the boy who lived, but Lily refuses interviews. James jokes that if another Daily Prophet reporter shows up, he's getting hexed. Lily doesn't laugh. She's already halfway through the spell. Still, magic seeps into the cracks of their rebuilt life. Harry chases gnomes in the garden, sings to enchanted flower beds that bloom in time with his giggles, and turns the bathwater neon blue just to see Lily's face when she walks in. He grows fast, too fast. By 5, he's asking if he can duel. By 6, he's sneaking dung bombs into James's work satchel. By 7, he's reading books about magical theory that Lily keeps trying to hide on higher shelves. But the biggest difference isn't the magic, it's the love. When Harry scrapes his knee, someone is always there to pick him up. When he wakes from a nightmare, he doesn't cry alone. He cries into Lily's arms. When he asks where babies come from, James tries to explain it using Quidditch metaphors. Lily throws a pillow at him. Harry doesn't grow up angry. He grows up curious. He doesn't need to be brave all the time, which is exactly why, when bravery is needed, it's real. By the time he turns 10, he's quick with a wand, quicker with a joke, and shockingly gentle for someone so powerful. He writes get-well cards for Remus. He helps a crying neighbor off his bike. He returns a stolen chocolate frog to a younger kid at the park, even though it was the one with the rare Dumbledore card inside. There's still a war in the background. There are whispers, shadows, old scars. But in this life, in this timeline, Harry Potter is more than the boy who lived. He is the boy who was loved, completely, openly, fiercely. And he has no idea how rare that really is. Hogwarts without the weight of destiny. The Hogwarts letter still arrives, delivered by Owl, sealed with wax, addressed in that perfect emerald ink. Mr. H. Potter, Godric's Hollow. But this time, Harry doesn't find it under the floorboards while dodging insults. He opens it at the breakfast table. Lily reads it aloud, voice trembling just a little. James tries not to tear up. Sirius sends a howler that just screams, "Get into Gryffindor or don't come home." It explodes into glitter and confetti. The trip to Diagon Alley is a parade of awkward handshakes and sidelong stares. Strangers peer at Harry, searching his face for the scar that isn't there. They whisper anyway. Some call him lucky. Others, legend. Harry just wants an extra scoop of ice cream. He meets Draco Malfoy and Madame Malkins. Same slicked back hair, same smug questions. But this time, Harry isn't intimidated. He just blinks and says, "You don't have to be a Slytherin, you know." Draco stares at him, and for once, doesn't have a comeback. Ollivander hands him a wand, holly and phoenix feather, 11 inches. "Curious," he mutters, "the brother wand to one that did terrible things." Harry nods, polite but unfazed. His mother taught him not to fear history. His father taught him how to rewrite it. Platform 9 3/4 roars with steam and chatter. James adjusts Harry's collar. Lily slips a note into his pocket with a protective charm embedded in the ink. "You don't have to be brave," she whispers. "Just be you." On the train, he meets Ron Weasley, hungry, funny, and instantly familiar. Then Hermione Granger, who corrects their pronunciation of Alohomora before sitting down with a book and a sigh. The trio clicks instantly, not out of trauma or codependency, but curiosity. At the sorting ceremony, the hat sits heavy on his head. Gryffindor like your parents, but clever, loyal, brave. You could do well in many places. "I think Gryffindor," Harry whispers, "but I'll try not to cause as much trouble as my dad." The hat laughs. "Gryffindor it is." Classes come alive. Transfiguration with McGonagall is a challenge. Harry welcomes, charms delights him. Potions is complicated. Snape still hates James. That part didn't change. But Lily is alive, and her presence hangs in the air between them like a truce no one signed. Snape doesn't smile, he doesn't soften, but he does hold back. Harry notices. He writes home about it. James snorts. Lily just sighs. Quidditch tryouts? First years aren't allowed, until McGonagall sees Harry pull off a dive that would make professional seekers jealous. He makes the team. James practically levitates. But beneath the fun and friendship, something stirs. The third-floor corridor is off limits. There's a three-headed dog, whispers of a secret object hidden in the school, a mirror that shows Harry. Not power, not glory, just his parents. Even now, even with everything he has, a part of him still aches for connection, for understanding, for a future where he doesn't just follow in their footsteps, but walks beside them. And that's when the real story begins. War looms, and this time, he's not alone. The signs are subtle at first, whispers in the forbidden forest, shadows flickering where light should hold, a professor who stutters too much and smells wrong when he passes by. Harry feels it before he understands it. Voldemort never truly left. But this time, when he writes home about his suspicions, someone believes him. Lily reads every letter twice. James pores over every detail. They don't tell him to stay out of it. They ask questions. They prepare, because they remember. By the time Harry faces off with Quirrell in front of the Mirror of Erised, he's not just a boy hoping to survive. He's a boy who's been trained, gently, wisely, by people who've seen the Dark Lord up close. He still ends up unconscious, still nearly dies. But when he wakes up in the hospital wing, Lily is already by his side. James paces in the corner, wand holstered but eyes wild. They don't say, "You shouldn't have." They say, "You did good, and we're not going anywhere." Dumbledore tells them Voldemort's spirit tried to return through Quirrell, that he failed, for now. Lily doesn't cry, she sharpens. James doesn't rage, he strategizes. They rejoin the Order of the Phoenix that night. The next year, the Chamber of Secrets opens. But this time, the Ministry listens. Because James is still an Auror, the attacks happen, students fall, but the fear doesn't spiral unchecked. Dumbledore isn't removed. Ginny Weasley is saved sooner, the basilisk dies. And Tom Riddle's diary, a Horcrux, is brought to Lily in secret. She analyzes it, realizes what it means. They finally understand. Voldemort split his soul. He's not gone. He's waiting. In third year, Sirius doesn't escape prison, because he never went. Instead, Peter Pettigrew is the one on the run. He's unmasked, captured, and confesses everything. It's a victory. A fracture healed. Remus teaches at Hogwarts. Harry thrives under him. And when Dementors arrive, those soul-sucking echoes of despair, Harry casts a full-bodied Patronus in the shape of a stag. James cries when he hears, not loudly, not in front of Harry, but alone, just once. The Triwizard Tournament still happens in year 4. and Harry's name still emerges from the goblet. But this time, his parents don't doubt him. They fight for him. James nearly gets suspended for yelling at the officials. Lily threatens the Minister of Magic with a parchment full of legal consequences. Dumbledore pulls strings to let Harry compete with better protections in place. Still, Cedric Diggory dies. Still, Voldemort returns, fully, bodily, horrifically. But when Harry returns with that truth, he isn't branded a liar. He's not gaslit or punished. He's heard. Because the Potters remember what the world tried to forget. The war begins. And this time, Harry isn't a boy against the darkness. He's part of an army. And at the very center of it is a family, final battles, and the power of a united front. The war doesn't skip Hogwarts. It never did. But this time, when Voldemort comes, he doesn't face a school of frightened children. He faces Lily and James Potter, wands drawn, standing beside Minerva McGonagall and Remus Lupin, and a new generation that isn't just brave, it's prepared. Harry's not the secret weapon hidden in the Forbidden Forest. He's out in the open, battle-ready, backed by a family legacy carved from defiance. The Horcruxes, they're hunted down faster, smarter. Lily cracks open dark magic the Ministry won't even whisper about. James uses his aura network to track Death Eaters before they can regroup. Even Sirius, cheeky, reckless Sirius, becomes a tactical genius when his godson's life is on the line. The final battle still happens. The Great Hall still erupts in green fire, red sparks, and screams that echo through stone. But this time, Harry doesn't fight alone in the forest. He walks through the castle with his parents. They duel side by side, Lily against Bellatrix, fire for fire, mother to mother. James disarms Dolohov mid-sentence and stuns 3 more without blinking. And Harry, he finds Voldemort in the courtyard, just like before. But this time, he doesn't come empty-handed or full of prophecy. He comes knowing he's not the last defense. He's one part of something stronger. Voldemort taunts him, calls him soft, weak, protected. Harry doesn't flinch. He drops his wand, and then the dome of golden light returns, that ancient interwoven magic. James's protection, Lily's love, and now Harry's choice. It forms a radiant shield. Voldemort hurls the killing curse, and it rebounds, again. But this time, it doesn't just destroy a vessel. It finishes the war. The courtyard falls silent. The darkness lifts, and Harry turns around to see his parents, alive, whole, and proud. They don't need to say anything. They just run to him, and together they stand beneath the dawn. A family that lived, a legacy rewritten, the ending that never was, but should have been. When peace finally feels real, the war is over, not delayed, not deflected, no shards of Voldemort waiting in journals or forests or the back of someone's head, just gone, and in that silence stands Harry Potter, whole, not because he survived the worst, but because he was never broken in the first place. A life worth saving. The wizarding world holds its breath. For the first time in decades, there's real peace. Not a fragile ceasefire, but a peace born of survival, of unity, of truth. And at the center of that peace is Harry Potter. Not the boy who lived, not the chosen one, just Harry. A boy who fought because he had something to protect, and someone to come home to. Sirius is still standing, Remus too. Dumbledore made it through, his eyes tired but twinkling once more. Even Snape, grim, wounded, and impossible, lives long enough to see Harry nod at him with something almost like respect. But it's Lily and James who anchor this ending. They're not martyrs, they're not memories, they're parents, and that changes everything. They help rebuild. Hogwarts is scarred, but not broken. Lily consults with the Ministry, helping rework laws that protect Muggleborns. James returns to the Auror office, this time training young recruits to think bigger than curses and combat. They're finally public figures, reluctantly, but they handle it with grace, because this time, fame didn't cost them everything. Harry graduates, top marks in defense, elected Quidditch captain. His friends rise beside him, Hermione off to change the world, Ron to rebuild it. Eventually, Harry marries. Eventually, they have children, and James and Lily get to be there, at the wedding, at the christenings, at the garden picnics with toy brooms and floating lanterns. There's no graveyard to visit on Halloween. There's no what might have been. Because they lived, they changed everything. And they remember exactly what the alternative looked like. What if it didn't have to hurt? In the world we know, Harry Potter grew up alone, shaped by pain, destined to carry the weight of a war that wasn't his to start. But in this world, he grew up loved, protected, whole. And when the time came, he didn't need a miracle. He was the miracle. And while the world watched the boy who lived rewrite history, Another family, not far from the spotlight, was quietly fighting a very different kind of battle. Same war, same stakes. But for the Weasleys, the real enemy wasn't Voldemort. It was poverty. So why, in a world full of magic and ministry connections, were the Weasleys so poor? You're about to find out.